Oh, Jorge, another spectacular wig from another fabulous Patreoner. I am so spoiled. I am just... Say, hey, hi, it's me, Wilma Fingerdoo with the Fingerdoo review of Drag Race UK Season 2, Episode 5. And before we get started, I would just like to send a shout out to this week's Tipperdoos. Elaine Alden, thank you very much. Alexis Venzura, thank you, doll. Ruben Munoz, God bless you. Jonathan Arnold, I love you, doll. And Andres Gomez, who left me a lovely message on PayPal as well. Thanks, Andres. I also want to send a happy belated birthday to Leon Plumakers. He is one of my Patreoners, and you see him on the messages on the tubes. Happy belated, Leon. Many more to you, my darling. And I just also want to clear up something. Christopher sent me that magenta wig last week. I said it was Eric. Eric sent me this. I got them both at the same time and I got mixed up. So I am so embarrassed and so sorry, but I do want to send a shout out to my Patreoners, Christopher and Eric, for the fabulous wigs. Now, let's get on to the important stuff. Jorge, drink me. Ooh, what is this? Ooh, what is this? It's with a grown up coffee. How exciting. Oh, right. This is a coffee and the double coffee liqueur from Moonshine Creek Distillery in Nova Scotia. John sent it to me. Oh, that's delish, I'll tell you what. All right, so let's get to it. We started this episode off oddly as the queens seemed almost to wander into the workroom lost and confused. They were gobsmacked by Ginny's quick exit. Sister didn't even know she had left the building until almost halfway through the lip sync. But the other queens had a front row seat for Ginny's finishing move and so had a moment or two extra to get used to the idea. Larry was pissed off that Ginny had just thrown in the towel while Sister, regardless of the situation, had been ready to give it her all, and Veronica thought that Ginny leaving was disrespectful. I have to say, I totally agree, seriously. But as selfish as Ginny would like her sacrifice to be, Sister was making it all about Sister. She was on the horns of a dilemma. Would she have won the lip sync, or did she have her place in the competition by default? Well, I for one was asking that same question myself because even though she was alone, I wasn't impressed by her lip sync. Anyone else? Ahura seemed to side with Ginny because, well, she let the room know she didn't think Ginny should have been in the bottom in the first place. Well, Veronica was all over that by saying that Ahura thought she should have been in the bottom, and, well, she was right. Why do these queens waste time asking questions they already know the answers to? I'm so serious. I love that Ahura stood her ground. No, she didn't think Veronica should have gone home, but she did think she should have been in the bottom. And she wasn't alone. More than just Tace agreed with Ahura. Understandably, that got Veronica's dander up. She definitely stated that her look was what saved her. And then she went on another one of her I'm being overlooked whinges and told the queens that they didn't know her, so they had better beware. Okay. To break the ice or let off steam, Tace called Veronica a cocky slag, which under any circumstances involving other people would have been hilarious. But Veronica's got no sense of humor. That's why she sucks at improv. Anyone else would have seen the insult for what it was, a friendly slap, and moved on. Tace couldn't have cared less either way. She just calls the cocky slags as she sees them. Who else is a cocky slag? Jorge? Tia tried to make some point about how she would have judged it or some such thing, but Larry either thought she was done or else couldn't care to hear the rest of it because she threw her 2 cents into the ring. Well, that set Tia off. Either Larry is a loud slapper who grates on everybody's nerves talking too much, or Tia's jealous that she's won 2 challenges already. Or she just hates being cut off. I don't care. But Tia did enough to throw a snide comment about it at Larry, who immediately slapped back by suggesting that Tia finish her sentence if she's going to get butthurt about it. Well, it looked to me for a minute there that Larry and Tia were going to get into it, but they were all interrupted by a video message from Ru. Well, as you can imagine, this was a complete surprise to everyone. They were on pins and needles waiting to hear what Ru had to say. And what Ru had to say wasn't good. Due to the state of the pandemic in the UK, they were going to have to shut down production. There was no mention of how long, or even if they would be coming back. All Ru said at the end of the message was for them to all sashay away. Well, barf. On a side note, there's a half-hour special of what the queens got up to in lockdown for 7 months. Well, we all know what those queens got up to. Nothing, just like the rest of the world. Or so I thought. My review for the queens in lockdown is available here. Fast forward to 7 months later, and there's Ahura, I think. Let's just call her Ahura 6.0. Someone's been touched by an angel. Again. She wasn't the only one. Bimini looked like she'd had a couple of things refilled as well. The shocker for me was Sister. Not just because she had work done, a lot of work done actually, and yet she still kept that hair. Understandably, everyone was thrilled to be back, especially Lawrence and Ellie, who had a similar lockdown in Scotland that we've had here in Ontario. No live performances or loud music in the bars, if the bars are open at all. Poor Lawrence was a bit worried 7 months not performing. Will she be able to continue to dominate the competition? Like she's obviously dominated her refrigerator? What did you say? Taste was the one queen who looked exactly the same. Well, her and Tia's hair, just saying. So, the queens got back up to speed by slagging each other off, and just about the time that they were finally noticing that Veronica was taking her sweet time, there was Ginny Lemon's wig on a navy suit, wearing Ru. And she had news. Ronnie had tested positive for the coronavirus, and clearly, Tia was upset. Ahura would have been too, if she'd liked her more. So, to move on, Ru brought in the Brit crew, who were completely hidden in mascot costumes. Can you imagine if hazmat suits actually looked like that? It'd be a different pandemic, I'm just saying. Because poor Ronnie had been eliminated for health reasons, Ru was going to give one of the eliminated queens a chance to get back into the competition. Well, everyone but Ginny Lemon, because she already done had hers by eliminating herself. Clearly, someone's still bitter. I heard she stole that wig. And here's where I thought this episode got weird. It wasn't the Brit crew in those mascot costumes, it was the eliminated queens. And the queens that were still in the competition had to vote right then and there who would stay in the competition and who would go home. In front of them! Awkward! What was even more awkward for Cherry and Estina was that it was almost a landslide vote for Joe Black. Ahura and Bimini didn't vote for Joe, but instead chose Estina. I have to admit that I'm surprised that Taste didn't vote for Estina too. Maybe she didn't want the competition. So, with no further ado, Joe Black was back in the competition, and Cherry and Estina freaked off home. Who else thought that was a bit of an insult? You know those two queens had hauled all their drag back to the studio only to be sent home without unpacking. I hope they kept those mascot costumes, I'm just saying. And then it was Maxi Challenge time. The Ru Vision Song Contest. I see you! There you are! I'm checking you out! The queens had to separate into two groups, write their own verse to the song UK Hun, and learn choreography. For someone who admits to not being a good singer or dancer and has not been doing drag for 7 months, Miss Cheney was thrilled. Because Jo was the returning queen, she was made a team captain, and because Larry had won the last challenge, she was captain of the other team. Jo picked Tia Coffee, Sister, and Ellie Diamond, while Larry snapped up Bimini and Tace, which left Ahura to be picked last. She wasn't pleased, and I have to say, I was surprised. She's an excellent dancer, so I would have picked her first and thought that with her, Lawrence had a strong team. Actually, I think Tia Coffee would have been a strong choice too, but they can't all be on one team, I'm so serious. Right away, the queens got to it. Over on Team Jo, the queens seemed very happy with their group. Well, they'd have to be at this point. While over on Team Larry, they focused on the important things, like giving the song a good listen. Naturally, group names were on the order for the day as well, and Jo's group went down the punny route by choosing Tia's suggestion of Banana Drama, which Jo Black loved immediately. While over on Lawrence's team, the queens didn't want to evoke an existing group, so they went with Ahura's suggestion of the United King Dolls. And that's the moment Larry's team won this challenge in my eyes. It always boils down to the name. Plus, who doesn't like dolls? Seriously. Of course, there was always an undercurrent of rivalry between the two groups. Larry felt Banana Drama looked like the Golden Girls with their young friend Ellie, while Tia thought Lawrence was fat. Thank God Ginny Lemon's wig brought Ru back to check on the girls' progress. Her first stop was Banana Drama, and right out of the gate, Ru was impressed by their name. She was also impressed by Tia Coffee getting emotional over the news that Veronica wasn't coming back. So was I, because I don't remember them being that close. Ru asked Ellie what secret weapon she had for this challenge, and Ellie was very quick to say she sings and dances in her act, as does Tia. Of course, Joe's a singer as well, which Tia was sure would be a help, and then pointed out that Sister has chiclets. I mean new teeth. Over on the United King Dolls, Ru was very quick to reduce the team's name to UKD. I still don't get it. Ahura admitted that she's not a singer. Or is she? Either way, she felt that she has what it takes to win this challenge. It's good to have dreams. And then it was off to record their solo tracks with the deliciously fabulous Emanike. Banana Drama was first, and Sister's teeth kicked them off, and she set the bar high with her rap. Ellie rapped next and even sprinkled some singing on it. I thought she did good. When Joe Black started, I had Eurovision 2017's Verka Serduka running through my ears. She's that Ukrainian drag queen. She was featured in Spy with Melissa McCarthy. That's where I thought Joe was going to go with this. Plus, I was intrigued by her lyrics. They may have been a touch clever for RuRuVision, but I liked how she tied in the Glenn Close reference. Joe's been compared to Glenn Close ever since they both put on turbans, so I love that line about being Glenn Close but no cigar. So did Emanike, or they would have if Joe had been able to get the emphasis right. Joe shortened the second half of Cigar as requested, but kept the emphasis on it, no matter how many times Emanike said it for her. And there were a lot. Luckily, Tia was next, and what an impressive way to end their recording session. Joe looked worried. The United King Dolls were next, and it was Ahura who went first. Is anyone else liking Ahura a whole lot more since the lockdown? That whole I'm a great vocalist moment had me laughing, and whatever that was she was doing on the mic off the top was hilarious. I thought things were looking up for the King Dolls, and well, then it was Bimini's turn. No wonder she's afraid of her voice. Bobby Brady sounded better going through puberty, I'm so serious. Thank goodness Emanike's direction seemed to fix that up right quick. Tace was next and was worried that the last time she had to do any singing on Drag Race, it saw her land in the bottom. Well, she didn't need to worry. I was beyond impressed. I think Tace was the best rap of the day, and her freestyling at the end was brilliant. You could tell Lawrence was nervous because, well, that's the first thing she said when she got up to the mic, and it was obvious. There didn't seem to be one moment where she got it right during her time with Emanike, and Ahura was concerned. Something else that was concerning was the queens being responsible for their own choreography. Banana Drama were first to rehearse, and, well, Joe put Ellie and Tia in charge, which was, I think, the best choice in a bad situation. Of course, 21-year-old Ellie wanted to dance the house down in her boots, which worried Joe, and although Tia had the right idea from a Eurovision Song Contest perspective, she really wasn't helping either. Or so Ellie thought. I get where Ellie was coming from. She wanted to show off. That's because she's a child. I don't know if the King Dolls did a better job with their choreo, but Tace was the only one in charge and she wasn't taking prisoners. I have to admit, I was impressed with Tace. She was relentless in making them learn the steps correctly, but she was ever so supportive and encouraging with Lawrence through the process. To her face! But in that confessional, now that's a cocky slag. Seriously. And then it was Elimination Day, and while they got ready, Larry and Bimini had a very sobering conversation about surviving without being able to make a living. It's important to remember that this all happened early last year. They've only been on TV for the last month. No wonder so many of them had merch ready to go. I'm so serious. P.S. Support your local drag queens, if you can. For the rest of the room, the queens were starting to worry about being sent home first after all this time being away. And why wouldn't they be? That's a long time to wait to get bad news, I'm just saying. And then it was off to the runway, and here's another dress I loved on Ru. Is that Zaldi, or is Ru using a British designer? Because these looks have been stunning. I'm not sure what Michelle Visage was wearing, but I'm still not sure I liked it. Graham Norton, the voice of Eurovision, was looking fabulous, but not near as fabulous as Emanike did. Seriously. Up first in the RuRuVision Song Contest was the United King Dolls, and they just smashed it. If any of them made a mistake, I didn't see it. Lawrence was hilarious and in step. Ahura was brilliant and serving me memories of Adore Delano, which I was living for. Tace was fantastic, and Bimini dropping into those splits and calling out for a death drop at the end was the cherry on top of Ahura. Banana Drama, on the other hand, Well, it wasn't good. I don't know what Joe Black was thinking, but if I had been in that workroom, I would have slapped that wig off her head. Don't get me wrong, I love a good marcelled wig, but there is a time and a place for that sort of thing, and this wasn't it. It looked like someone had photoshopped someone's grandmother's head on a photo of someone's spinster aunt at an afternoon office Christmas party. No one offered to loan her a wig? I was shocked. So was Ru. As for the rest of the group, it was okay. I thought Tia did the best, and surprisingly, I loved her outfit, but their choreography was very simple and repetitive, so it got boring really quick. And then it was time for the runway. Category is A Day at the Seaside. First down the catwalk, Bimini Bon Boulash, who was serving 1920s inspired Vanity Fair editorial deliciousness. And her makeup was stunning. A total Fingerdoo for me. Tace's fishy net was gorgeous, and she knew it. Hell, everyone knew it. Fingerdoo. Ahora's bag of chips was another winner for me. Not only was the silhouette flattering, but it was hilarious as well. Those little wooden fork earrings, the ketchup bottle as a hat, the red shoes to match. I was impressed. Total Fingerdoo. I loved Lawrence's look too. The life preserver halo, the arm floaty sleeves, her makeup. This was another Fingerdoo from our Larry, and a great return to the runway. I'm so serious. I like the idea of Ellie's look, but I wish she hadn't covered her whole face with that mask or all those feathers. Maybe I wouldn't have thought that if Denali hadn't just dressed up as a macaw on season 13. Either way, I'm gonna give Ellie's a finger don't. I hate to do it. I like the idea of Tia Coffey's ice cream cone dress. Or maybe I just wanted an ice cream cone. Either way, this is another costumey figure hider on our Tia. From the shoulders up, I thought she looked great. But she's too tall not to notice what's going on with the rest of her is all I'm saying. So it was a finger don't. Even if Ahura hadn't already killed the catwalk with her version of this dress, I still wouldn't have liked Sisters. It hit her shape, the size of the type on the newsprint was too small, the vinyl sacks of red sauce hanging off the front were alarming, mostly because vinyl sacks and red sauce was the name of my drag act in high school. I was red sauce. I loved Joe Black's runway. This was beautiful and fun. I wish she'd worn that wig for the actual challenge, I'm so serious. But still, a Fingerdoo. And then it was time for the judges' critiques. First off, Ru announced that the United King dolls were the winners of the Ru Vision Song Contest, and Britain's next breakout recording artists, move over, Frock Destroyers. They all won Repeater badges, and so they all frigged off to the Untucked Lounge. As for Bananarama, they were all up for elimination. Ellie was up first, and as much as the judges liked her look, there was more than a little room for improvement. Michelle thought she could have been bigger in the challenge, but was impressed by her webbed heels. While Graham liked Ellie's runway, he felt it was a touch costumey. Emanike thought she was holding back in the challenge, and Ru put it right. She could see Ellie counting. It's not good. Tia was next, and everyone enjoyed her in the challenge, but no one liked her runway. What was too bad about it was that Tia's outfit set Ru off on a dark path. She said her look was okay for a pub, but Tia was international now, and before the world ends, she needs to step it up. And when Tia tried to tell Ru she would, Ru called shade. That's what you said the last time, she said, and then she started listing Tia's attributes. Long legs, beautiful skin. The only thing that was keeping Tia from looking more like Ru was the team of 50 professionals who make Ru look like Ru. Not that Ru was about to lend them out, but it certainly gave Tia something to strive for. With those long legs. Seriously. Sister was next, bless. Everyone said she did well in the challenge, but that's like being happy about finding a penny in a bag full of rocks. No offense. But what I loved was how they all felt badly for Sister's runway after seeing Ahura. But Emanike was the only one to say that's because Ahura wore it better. Emanike's right. It wouldn't have made any difference if Sister had gone first. Seriously. Last, and well, possibly least, was Joe Black. While everyone was happy to see her return, and as beautifully whimsical as her runway was, no one had a kind word for Joe's look in the challenge. Oh, don't get me wrong, they had words. They just weren't kind. And the most cutting ones came from Ru. When Joe admitted to Michelle that his Primark dress was actually H&M, Well, Ru lost it right then and there, shaming Jo and anyone like her who'd show up to the Eurovision of drag in off-the-rack, unaltered discount frocks. She had a point that I thought would have meant more if my mind hadn't gone back to this time and place. Wasn't that just last year? Mind you, she's RuPaul. She doesn't have to prove anything to anyone. She's already got $100,000. And then some, I'm so serious. In other words, watch Jo Black become the face of H&M. They certainly won't be calling on Ru, I'm so serious. So with that tongue lashing, the queen shuffled off to the Untucked Lounge. Speaking of, the United King dolls were talking about the 2 bag of chips in the room and how 7 months ago, Sister had a Pamela Anderson costume for the beach theme, and everyone had seen Ahora's chip bag because it was too big to hide. Wait, that doesn't sound right. But there was no time to debate it further because Bananarama limped into the lounge. They all told the King dolls how angry Ru was and how disappointed she was in Off the Rack. And all I can say is, I'm glad Estina wasn't in the room because didn't she win the first challenge in an Off the Rack puffy coat? She did, right? And as shocking as that news was, it was nothing compared to the battle of the chip bags. Ahura asked Sis if the judges had a favorite, to which Sis angrily admitted that they liked Ahora's more. Not that Ahura needed Sis to tell her, I'm sure she just wanted her to say it. What makes me think that Sister might have done it on purpose to throw Ahura off her game was that single question she asked Ahura about whether it bothered her that Sister completely disregarded her costume and didn't remember it. And then I remembered, Sister isn't smart enough to think up something like that. Ahura didn't care, she still won. And she wore it best. I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, Ahora's outfit was way better and much more fashionable, while Sister was very happy and content with her own costume. Enough said. Back on the main stage, Ru kicked things off by apologizing to the queens for her harsh words and that she could see their potential. And all she wanted was for them to seize the day. And possibly she was a little cray-cray from 2 weeks in quarantine. Who can say? With that said, Ru told Ellie and Sister that they were safe, which left Tia and Jo up for elimination. Jo was feeling confident, but then she wasn't there long enough to know that Tia had already sent one queen home. I thought this was a perfect song for the lip sync, and I thought both queens did well. No matter what, every time they cut back to Jo Black, she reminded me of Anderson Cooper when they used to send him out to report on hurricanes for CNN. It was hilarious, but not on purpose. Tia, on the other hand, was doing okay until she pulled up her cone so she could dance more and flash the world her red panties. This queen could give Naomi Smalls' legs a run for the money, I'm so serious. I don't know if anyone else noticed the awkward somersault where it looked like Jo Black almost dived into Tia's path, but it did nothing to hinder Tia Coffee. Even the music stopping didn't stop her from one last death drop and some floor modeling, so it was no surprise to me that Tia shantaed, and sadly, Jo Black fell victim to the curse of the returning queen and sashayed away. Again. Well, what do you think? Did the right queen go home? Would Cherry or Estina have done better? What about Sister? All that work done and still her cracks are starting to show. And what about Tia? Will we ever see that waist, or are her red panties where she draws the line? All we can do is tune into Drag Race UK next week. And when you're done, you come on back and you see me so we can compare notes. Now, don't forget to like this video if you did, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. And until next week, miss me! Mwah. Seriously, Jorge. I can't believe how many of those queens had plastic surgery. More of them may have had it at the beginning of the season, but I'd never seen them before. I don't know. The last thing I want to do with a fat face is fill it with anything. I'm just saying. I'm surprised Sister could still talk. Look. Why that haircut? What is it? Sister wants cheekbones of death and a haircut of disappointment? God, she looks like, it makes her look like she hammers nails with her forehead. Seriously.